Silver Brothers, Austin, Double A, Terry Roberts, please report to the front stage. D2W Stu, your presence is required at the front stage. Unberger, I see you. Tony Turley, we see you lurking over there. Nolan Mendoza, Bender. If you want your name mentioned in this song, all you gotta do is drop a $14.99 super chat so Smitty can identify you and drop you in. Get your name in the intro song of every Tuesday, Thursday show.
It's a blue button.
Herbert's the gout, he'll punch you in the throat. Herbert's the gout, he'll punch you in the throat.
Run it back, Ma.
Herbert's the gout, he'll punch you in the throat. Herbert's the gout, he'll punch you in the throat.
Would all of the VIP super chatters please come to the front stage? You know who you are. OU Kurt, Mark Cleveland, the Silver Brothers, Austin, Double A, Terry Roberts, please report to the front stage. D2W Stu, your presence is required at the front stage. Unberger, I see you. Tony Turley, we see you lurking over there. Nolan Mendoza, Bender. If you want your name mentioned in this song, all you gotta do is drop a $14.99 super chat so Smitty can identify you and drop you in. Get your name in the intro song of every Tuesday, Thursday show.
It's a blue button.
Herbert's the gout, he'll punch you in the throat. Herbert's the gout, he'll punch you in the throat.
Run it back, Ma. Yo, welcome to the show. My name is Smitty. Where are all my lights? Everything's out. Everything's out.
He'll punch you in the throat.
I gotta turn the lights on today. We got an outage here.
VIP
What is going on?
super chatters, please come to the front stage. You know who you are.
We're gonna have to roll
Kurt, Mark
with the
Cleveland,
top lights today until I figure out what's going on. Appreciate all of you being here. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show live. If this is your first time being here, hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up on your way in the door. We've got a decent show for you already planned out today. Of course, we've got Fantasy Football Court a little later, so get your questions ready where I roll through as judge, jury, and executioner on all of your fantasy football questions, and we do that for about an hour straight. We're going to hit the intro, go over the news, do a little quarterback rankings right here later on in the show. Let me move that around. So news first, quarterback rankings, and fantasy football court. We're going to kick it all off. I'm glad you are all here.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Top 5 running back.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
I'm Smitty.
Take a lap.
Yo, welcome back to the show. What's up, Terry? What's up, Nick? What's up, Vag? What's going on, Anton? What's going on, RGB? Everybody filing in the door. Appreciate you. Anton, appreciate you, RGB. Rem, no, there'll be prizes involved, bro. Tons of good prizes. If you're in Door League 1, there's a DK Metcalf jersey. Door League 2, I think, Rem, you're in Door League. I don't know what league. You're in Door League 2. Door League 2 TBA on the prizes, but we'll do some amazing stuff. So DK Metcalf winner to the winner of the Door League 1, but Rem, you're in Door League 2 TBA on the prizes. So let's get to some of the news and notes here. Heading into July 20. What is today? July 29. Today's July 29. We've got several things to talk about. Number one, I think, is probably the most impacting. Mike Thomas. Sean Payton said Michael Thomas should have undergone ankle surgery earlier instead of waiting till June. Look, this is on Payton too, not just on MT. I came out and told you he needed surgery and he didn't have it. Did I not tell you? I aside from not having an actual degree in medicine, my degree is in psychology, and I have a master's from the Cronkite School of Journalism. I don't have any medical background, but I've tore my knees up to oblivion in the past, so I feel a little bit almost like a doctor. I provide some of the best non-doctor news you can, medical advice you can find. Not advice. It's not advice. It's medical observations. I give you some of the best non-professional medical takes you will find. Okay? Mike Thomas, I told you from the sideline that this guy needed surgery. And not to mention, I brought on awesome guys like Dr. Jesse Morse who have confirmed that, because I was beating that drum before he came on. And once he started beating the drum with me, I was like, this is for sure. Mike Thomas is a disaster. You're the doctor of my fantasy team, says Austin. Practically not a doctor is what I call myself. Okay? Speaking about this, it's like he should have had surgery. Where was the Saints medical team in all of this? I've heard the Saints medical staff's actually pretty good. I don't know if they're good about picking up a phone though. How did the Saints not get involved in this? I don't get how this was left in the hands of Mike Thomas without any kind of pressure from the team. Hey, we need to look at you. Let's figure this out together. They just relied upon the man who tried to heal on his own, and it didn't work out well at all last year. What made any of us feel comfortable that he was going to take care of it without hearing any news about him having surgery, that this was all just going to work out? Hit the thumbs up on your way in the door. Where do we rank the man heading into 2021? I think we went over this before. We went over this on the last live stream. Do I have the board? I do have the board. Okay, so we're talking about talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where do we take Mike Thomas? Not right here, because you have guys like potentially Josh Allen going right here. Why are all my pens out? You have guys like Josh Allen potentially going right here. You got guys like Javonte Williams potentially going here. Jay Will. This pen's out. Jay Will going right there. You got guys like Kyler Murray going right there. You got guys like, I mean, it's hard to say with all the ADP moving around, but I would say like somewhere in this range or in all of round 7, that is the only place that I would take MT. And we're talking very bottom of round 6, probably almost fading this the more and more I see and hear. So I'm going to say round 7 is now the safe zone for MT. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just write this out official and stamp this bad boy. MT equals a 7th round pick, or no, or nothing. Because there are too many guys in round 6 that might be there that have more value and that could even be better. Like, I know you guys, some of you love Jerry Jeudy and you're on the Jeudy train with me, and some of you are not. But Jerry Jeudy, even when MT gets back, will he be 100% like anytime at all in 2021? Probably not. So even when back, even when kind of rumbling into, you know, his high-end production ceiling value, okay, and he's on course to be near 100% healthy, who's to say he's going to outscore Jerry Jeudy per start from even the point when he returns? Would I rather have Jerry Jeudy? Smitty, no one's considering MT. Oh, no, our South Star's back. Noah, I'm so glad to see you. When we have a Noah sighting, every single time we have a Noah sighting on the show, moving forward, the first time we identify Noahs in the live stream, Noah sighting. Noah, darn glad to have you here. You are our South Star, and we appreciate you, and we take you for granted, young man. Welcome back. Love having Noah back. Noah, you have your own theme song on the show. That's got to make you feel proud, young man. Coming in with all that negativity, you still get your own song, intro song, whenever I see you. Y'all probably talked about this, where we take Henderson plus draft Ridley or McLaurin. Okay, good job. Good questions, bro. Good questions. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm going to say Mark Cleveland, who I very, very much appreciate your super chat, by the way, kind sir. We're going to go ahead and say, here's round 1, here's round 2. Ridley feels very safe anywhere in this 1.11 to really anywhere below it. But we'll say that you're going to see him get taken by 2.04. So Ridley has that very, very high ADP value, bro. Whereas McLaurin is like, here's round 3. McLaurin's over in round 4 for me, you know, or somewhere around that range. So you're talking about an entire like 2 rounds or more difference between the two. Okay, so Ridley's the answer. Henderson. Let's put a box 5, and let's redo this, because I just saw a comment that I draw the best boxes, and I know that's not true. So I'm gonna redraw and try and be precise. All right, like a little kid. I got my tongue sticking out of my mouth as I'm concentrating. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are we doing right now?
It's time to go to school.
We're going to school. 7, 8, 9. Where do we draft Hendo? Javonte Williams goes here. I'm not taking Hendo over Javonte. I'm just not. Do I consider him like around here? After that range? Yeah, probably. But I don't feel great about it. You guys know how much I love Darrell Henderson too. And I don't feel good about drafting him, because I don't trust McVay. Half of why I hated Akers in 2020, not hated, that's a bad term. I like Akers. I'm rooting for him. I hope he returns to form. Half of the reason I pushed over and over and over to avoid Cam Akers in 2021 was half injury, half situation, and guess who gets handed the same exact situation? Maybe a little different because now there's less competition. Hendy was more competition for Akers than Hendy's got competition now that Akers is out, if that makes sense. So less risk for Hendy to get mismanaged than Akers for now. But McVay is such a wild card here. Does he bring in Lev Bell? Does he bring in Adrian Peterson, who you might laugh at now? But Adrian Peterson could do okay enough to muddy the water and the workload up. Not to say he's going to be some monster, but he might muddy up this whole situation. Will they bring in? They probably won't bring in Todd Gurley. Could they make a trade for Melvin Gordon? Could they do 100 different things? They could. And that's why I don't really love Henderson, even in a place where he feels like he's really got some good upside, like in this range right here, this 5, this, middle of 5 to bottom of 6. I've seen people take Hendo in 4, and that's crazy to me because that's where my favorite boy Josh Allen goes, at the end of 4 or top of 5. That's where sometimes you see Keenan. Like I'm not taking Hendo over guys like, you can't even read that. Mark Cleveland's in the way. Mark, I'm going to minimize you. There you go. Keenan Allen's there. This is not the place to take Darrell Henderson. As much as some people want to will him into top 10 existence, he's still got a boatload of risk. I would say, even in round 5, for the majority of round 5, maybe the tail end of round 5 and the top of 6 or into 6, you could consider him there. I kind of feel like it's just a risk I don't end up taking very often because I find somebody else that I like better. So it's a great question, Mark. And I appreciate your super chat. And Melvin Gordon, I've been saying that, Webb. I think that's a possibility. Let me see if I can answer some of these questions real quick. Gordon isn't a total non-factor. I like Williams 5'6". I do too, bro. What's up, Mighty Buffoon? What's up, Henry? It's a McVay problem. Javonte could start off slow like Dobbins. I don't think so, Ronnie. I think he's going to start off on fire, bro. But that's me. They're going to use him in the passing attack. He's got pass protection skills. The dude's electric. And it sounds like they want him to be the guy now. I don't think they want don't worry about money. Okay, this staff apparently, from everything I'm seeing, hearing, reading, absorbing, feeling, some of it's gut instinct. I admit it. You can't take that part away from me, which is the beautiful part about having your own show. I don't know. I feel like Javonte Williams is going to get close to starter carries if he's not named the starter for week 1. He's going to get volume, tons of volume. And I don't know that he'll ever let go of the job. Judy in the 6th round range. Yep. Smitty, married, been a while for... I don't know if that's you redrew it and it looks worse than the first one. Thanks, Joshua. I appreciate that. What up, people? Noah, where are you, my dude? He's here. Noah's here. Saints gonna get rid of MT. They could, but I don't know who's gonna trade for him right now, bro. Smitty always draws the best box. Russell Gage is a better option. Some people have been saying that a lot. I've heard Russell Gage over MT a lot. People like to use that example. Don't tell Mark to take a lap. Mark doesn't take laps on this show. Mark has a free get out of taking a lap card. But Anton, it's okay. Take Ridley, says McSween. Okay, I think I'm caught up on some of the comments here. So MT, my advice, take him in round 7. Don't take him earlier. Unless all the, go with the flow. If the right names are gone and you're literally like, crap, I honestly, you got to go off the feel. Okay. When do you feel that you could live without every name you see? Okay. So you're talking about when you get to Corey Davis's and you get to, after Gaskin is gone, when you get to that place and you're like, I can live without that person. I don't even know if I want that person. What do I do with that pick? Like, I literally can live without all of these guys. And the player I take in the next round, I kind of want to take here, and he might fall to the next round. Maybe even the next round. Once you get to that place, which is about round 7, I feel like, why not take a chance? Maybe you could trade him. But don't take MT in every league. Do it in like one league and hope for the best, because the odds are he will probably burn you. He will probably burn you, is the God's honest truth. Javonte climbing went 3.3 in your recent draft. That is crazy, and I hope that is not true. Please hit the thumbs up on the way in the door. We got 63 of you fine folks in here right now. Punch the thumbs up. Let YouTube know this is the place to be. That's the MT news. Sean Payton, why weren't you on top of this? Why were the Saints not on top of this? That's what I want to know. And why aren't we informed about anything? Let me drag Mike Thomas back on screen, because I'm not done apparently. Why are we not informed about anything anymore? Why is everybody okay? Why was the sports world okay with not hearing a word about MT? Not a word. We just sat there and we waited and we waited. We didn't even hear cricket sounds, and we waited. We didn't get update after not getting update after not getting update last year. Then what do we do in January? We take it the same way we took it in the 2020 season. We waited. Did he have surgery? I don't know. Everybody's saying you're going to be wrong. Mike Thomas is going to blow up. He's going to have such a bounce back year without knowing any information, just on a whim. Probably got it taken care of. He's a professional, right? Probably got the surgery. Don't ever assume that a player is healthy because you haven't heard anything. Mike Thomas is a risk. 7-round range, maybe. We don't even know if he'll be. No. So Bach, he should be back week 7 to 8. Question mark? We don't know. It is way too early to even put a number on it. That's why I said when this first happened, these people out there shoveling these reports down your throat that say 6 to 8 weeks, then another 6 to 8 weeks, he'll be back in blah, blah, blah. Week 4, week 3. He could be back in week 2, but probably week 4. Number 1, Mike Thomas has an injured deltoid. He had surgery on it. That is the main ligament that holds the two bones together in your leg so that they don't feel like they separate when you step. It's a very hard ligament to injure. And he damaged it. And what did he do? No, he didn't have surgery, which you need to do immediately. There are reasons you immediately need to have surgery on certain things. The deltoid being one of them. Your patellar tendon. I'm telling you, I'm not a doctor, but I probably should be. Okay? I'm at least your doctor. Your fake fantasy doctor. I know a lot about this stuff. When you tear your patellar tendon, it is important and vital to immediately have the surgery so that thing doesn't recoil and you still have the ability to stretch it out and not have tightness later that you have to have issues with and maybe even a second surgery on. There are so many darn reasons to have surgery immediately when you damage something significant. And what was going through his mind? I have no idea. Did his buddy tell him not to have surgery? Did he say, oh, this could hurt my contracts? I don't know. I have no idea. You know what? We never will know because Mike Thomas doesn't tell us anything. And the Saints don't tell us anything. And they obviously don't tell each other anything because they had no idea what was going on. And Sean Payton's like, I'm just going to say it right now. Paraphrasing. Basically said around these words. I'm just going to leave it at this. Mike Thomas should have had surgery, bro. Basically how the phrase went. I'm just going to leave it at this. Broski should have had the surgery. Mic drop. That's how it went. He has no handle on this at all. Mike Thomas, don't count on him. Draft him in the 7th round or don't even draft him at all. I wouldn't be opposed to making sure Jerry Jeudy's on your team, not Mike Thomas if it comes down to it, okay? Jerry Jeudy can help you for 17 straight weeks. Calvin Ridley, foot surgery. Little bit of injury concern with our boy Calvin Ridley, who has number 1 overall wide receiver potential. Don't you at me or look at me funny when I say that, because what did he do in 2020? He was the number 1 wide receiver for a string of games. He was fantastic. And Calvin Ridley is going to continue to be a top 1 to 5 wide receiver. I say 1 because he commands that kind of respect. You must give him the respect he deserves. The man commands the ability to be mentioned in the 1 to 5, not just number 5. Whoa, we got a little reverb there. I gotta click something here. A little housekeeping, I'm sorry. Boom. Okay. So Ridley, I would say, and Mark Cleveland, I had touched on this already with your question, and I appreciate your super chat. We're drafting this man at number 11 to 14, and we're feeling really confident about it. Do I like DK more? I go back and forth. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I like DK. Sometimes I like Ridley, depending on how the wind's blowing in the studio. If I've got the fan on, or if I've got the fireplace burning too. Whoops. If I got the fireplace burning too hot, and there's a little bit of wind blowing around, I may potentially draft DK. It kind of just depends on the mood I'm in. Ridley, Jefferson, DK, AJ Brown, I like in that tier still. Don't get me wrong. I put him at the bottom of it only because I don't know how the Julio and AJ Brown situation's gonna shake out. Everyone always wants to replicate the previous year and go, Corey Davis is gone. Jonnu Smith is gone. That means there's this exact amount of target share that we can cut and give some to AJ Brown, give the other amount to Julio Jones, and we're plenty good. It doesn't work like that all the time, especially when you add a big name potential guy. I don't think Julio stays healthy all year if he's getting fed volume that produces like high-end wide receiver 2 numbers. I think he's capable of doing that for a string of games, but I think Julio could get banged up. He's got the foot. He's got a history of injuries, hamstring injuries. Like, he literally could be probable or questionable for week 1. Okay? Screenshot this right here. Julio Jones, questionable for week 1. You might be able to use that clip heading into week 1. So I feel like I don't think Julio finishes higher than AJ Brown, Bob, but he could. If AJ Brown gets banged up, like, there's a lot of ways that could happen. But AJ Brown's the guy. AJ Brown's the number 1 wide receiver. But the dynamic could get shaken up to where both of them get hurt a little bit. That's why I put AJ Brown below Ridley. I'm not disrespecting AJ Brown. I'm just putting him right below Ridley, right below DK Metcalf, right below Justin Jefferson. They're all in the same tier. I have Julio above like Keenan Allen and all those guys below, but I just like to have my guys JJ, Justin Jefferson, not Julio. DK and Ridley just sitting right above them, but I love Ridley in 2021. And the foot seems to be fine, but something to monitor. Another guy with an injury concern right here. Look, I get ridden a lot on why Dak's not sitting in my top 4 quarterbacks when I love CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb season is here. CeeDee Lamb season is here. And all of you jumping on the train now, there's no room for you. We've literally been full for months, and you try and get on the CeeDee Lamb train now. I'm getting kind of tired of seeing these CeeDee Lamb posts like, one of my breakout wide receivers gonna be CeeDee Lamb. Everyone's so late to this party. It's annoying. But what I get a lot is, hey, Smitty, you love CeeDee Lamb so much. I know I'm driving the CeeDee Lamb train. No one has to tell me I'm conducting that train. I know I'm conducting the train. If anybody tells me I'm not conducting that train, we're going to have words. Dak Prescott, though, is a injury risk to the point where, same thing with like AJ Brown. We're knocking AJ Brown down to the bottom of the tier. We're not taking him out of the tier. We're just putting him at the bottom of the tier because he has the foot and ankle that we're worried about. And not only did that man, here's that man's ankle, okay? You suffer the kind of injury he did normally, you damage something like that, right? His was like literally, other than a few things holding it together, his ankle and foot was like this, okay? They had to put it back, and there's literally hardware on one side, and there's, at least screws on the other side. I don't know exactly what's on the other side. But that man gets rolled on one time. It's not going to have the same response if you or I get our ankle rolled on. It's literally probably going to be a devastating situation if it happens one time, where if you or I got our ankle rolled on, we might escape injury. I highly doubt Dak's going to escape injury if he gets rolled up on. So that, mixed with this injury, mixed with other concerns about him staying healthy, compensation with the ankle could cause some kind of hamstring injury. It just has me putting him at the bottom of the same tier that Russell Wilson's in, that Aaron Rodgers is in. It doesn't mean that I hate Dak. It doesn't mean I'm avoiding Dak. It just means Dak is going to be cautiously placed in a place where you're accounting for potential missed games because of the various things going on. Doesn't mean I don't like him. I love him. Love Dak. Be careful with where you rank him. Next piece of news. Did I mention it's CeeDee Lamb season, though? Did I mention that it's Lamb season? Hashtag Lammy Poo. Okay? Hashtag Jefferson 18. Did I mention? Did I also mention that these aren't going to be cheap because I'm going to make them live? Well, we got a new regime going on here at the Fantasy Football Show, and it's custom gear. And so essentially, if anybody drops a $50 super chat right now, they will be the first person that gets a Smitty custom. And essentially, I will make your shirt live on the air. I don't know if it'll be this weekend or how I'm going to go about it, but I'll have a shirt making show session where you come in, you drop a super chat, and during that time I will make the shirt live on the air while we're filming and talking football. This is one I made last night. I'm not done with it. I'm going to have names all over it, but you can have your team name on it. You can have your favorite breakouts on it. You can have your name on it. We're going to do Smitty customs. And so if anybody does drop a $50 super chat, which isn't for everybody, it's for only the hardcore people that want one of these bad boys made live on air. The inventory's coming in, so we'll be potentially this weekend or next weekend that I will actually make it on the air with you. But you tell me what you want on it, and we will make it. Sizes 2XL, 1XL, large, and medium. I don't have any smalls right now, but this is what you can get made. So those will be made live on the show. I don't know if I'll do it like on a Friday night or how we'll do it. Shipping to Canada, I don't know what's it cost to send something to Canada, bro. I don't really know. Bob says, Smitty, draft guide or rankings list? What do you mean, bro? If you go to smitty1.com, you'll see all my links, one of them being the rankings and the bold predictions. Click on that bad boy. I'm year-round, broski. I'm year-round. Is it Egyptian cotton? No, it is 95% polyester, 5% like elastic, and it is comfortable. The shirt is a nice fit. I'd say it runs perfect, if not a tiny, tiny bit like tight. You know, so you want to get like the XL if you like barely... if you're like barely fit into a lot of larges, you want to buy an XL. But anyway, that'll be coming up soon. So more news and notes. Are they soft? They are. They are very, very soft. They fit really good. You just got to get, like I said, if you sometimes have trouble fitting in, like let's say an XL, and they sometimes come tight, they fit a little perfect or tiny bit tight because they're meant to be kind of like, they're almost like not a muscle shirt, but they're like a tight fit shirt on purpose. So a lot of people feel like it's tight when it's meant to kind of be. So you'll want to get the XL if you normally wear L. And anyway, okay, and I might throw in like phone calls and stuff like that with a shirt. So you buy a shirt, I might toss a phone call your way, things like that. Maybe a subscription. Who knows? That'll be coming. I just wanted you guys to know that we're doing that. Hide a beer gut. It fits really, really snug but nicely. Like it's cut nicely. I love the shirt. I felt really good in it. It was just, I wear about an XL and I put on, that's a large. I put it on and it's a little tight because I normally wear an XL. So it was meant to be a little bit tight, but I was trying out some production on that one. So we got Dak out of the way. We've got A-Rod. Here. Insert rant time. And we didn't play this either.
And now, for the news.
Now for the news again. Aaron Rodgers, I'm about to go on a ramp. Can I rip the sleeves? You probably could. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about, like, I'll show you what it is, bro. It's a really sweet shirt. So there's the tag right there. The tag itself, it's 95% polyester, 5% like elastic, but it is very, very soft. It's very stretchy because of that elastic that is kind of in it. It feels like cotton, and when it's on, it feels very, very like shapes you a little bit. So yeah, I don't know if it'll hide beer bellies, bro, but it, like, to answer your question, it felt snug. I could put it on. This one again, I wear a large, so it's gonna be a little bit tight on me, and I'm wearing a shirt too. See, this is a little bit snug on me because I wear a XL. So I was messing with this shirt, but it is super comfortable. It's totally flexible, but this one doesn't fit me because I'm an XL. But it is a dope shirt. I love them. We'll be making them. We'll be doing it live. I'm gonna rant for a while. I gotta turn the fan on because I'm moving around. It's hot in here. Hopefully that isn't too loud, that fan. Okay. Story time. Want to become famous by... No, someone nix that guy. What are you talking about, bro? Get out of here. Okay. Aaron Rodgers. Story time. I'm sick and tired of people ripping on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is my favorite personality in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers is the furthest thing from a drama queen. And I know some of you, it's going to be hard to hear this. Maybe some of you hate the Packers for a reason of rivalry. Aaron Rodgers is the most chill person you've ever seen. Aaron Rodgers is the definition of chill. And yet everyone and their mother likes to rip on him. Talk about how he's a drama queen. Talk about how he's a diva. Talk about how he's a crybaby. And how he wants this and wants that. Aaron Rodgers has been a soldier, keeping his mouth shut for well over a decade of being mistreated as a superstar. When you are as good as Aaron Rodgers and your team doesn't rely upon you for advice, I'm actually like, that press conference by Aaron Rodgers was so refreshing. It was the most unbelievably refreshing press conference I've ever seen in my life. And I loved Aaron Rodgers before that press conference. I love him more after the press conference. The dude was so real. And he shoots you straight. He tells you exactly how he feels. He doesn't lie. He told you he didn't leak any of that information. What good would it have done him? He didn't want anybody to be butting into anything. He was just sitting back waiting. It was between him and management. And everybody else decided to paint the picture for A-Rod. Everybody else decided to talk for A-Rod. Everybody else had something to say about A-Rod. He's a drama queen. He wants this. He wants that. If you were in A-Rod's shoes at your job and they didn't listen to a word you said, they didn't take into account your expertise and what you do, whatever you do, think about your job right now. Whatever it is, whether it's in an office space, whether it's in in the field somewhere in your industry, and think about what you know, the things you know the best, your craft. Let's say you're working construction, and let's say you know welding better than anybody. You get no welding respect. They don't pay you more for the welding skills you have, but you are a welding phenom in your business. And the manager or owner or whatever of your business never comes to you when they do welding projects, never asks you for welding advice, never does anything related to having you come in with your expertise, and they tell you to do welding projects that don't make sense. This is what A-Rod's been dealing with. He knows what the team needs. He knows what he needs as the field general. He's the most important part of the franchise, more important than the whole front office combined times 10. On steroids, lit on fire, and cooled down again, frozen and reproduced. He's better than all of that. He is the franchise. He is the man. And when he said people come to Green Bay to play with him, that was a refreshing piece of honesty, because that's true. It's true. They come to play with him. He is the show. And I'm sick and tired of people mantling this man's historical, I don't know, persona. Everyone's so quick to tear him down, try and paint a picture about him. History's going to remember him very differently. Just like presidents are remembered differently over a 10, 15 year span, so are quarterbacks and Aaron Rodgers and what he brings to the table. People are going to be talking about all of this attitude that they say he has, and his demeanor and how he carries himself. 10 years from now, people are going to talk about how this is how a quarterback was to behave. This is how a legit quarterback acted. And they're going to say this man put up with a whole bunch of BS for many, many years. And all he wanted was a little respect, a little say, and just have this ownership recognize and bring him into the circle to help improve the franchise. He says he used to give them names and scouting tips and people to go after, and they just literally wouldn't listen to him. Not listen to Aaron Rodgers. If I was running this team, I'd be having coffee with Aaron Rodgers every single morning. Coffee talk with A-Rod. And for everybody ripping on the fact that they didn't win this, they didn't win that, they may have won a whole lot more had they listened to A-Rod. He's tired of it. He doesn't like that the historical version of him, the story being told about him, is limited based on this organization. He wants to get out and paint his own picture and have his own ending. He wants to get out and do what Brady did, win a championship out of the confines of this prison that he's living in Green Bay in terms of the ownership. I love A-Rod. And I can't wait for him to go elsewhere. He'll be in Las Vegas or Denver or somewhere like Washington. And I believe Devontae Adams, there's a 50% chance that Devontae Adams follows him wherever he goes. They go together. Raiders. They go together. Denver. They go together. Washington. They go together, and they win a championship. I would not be shocked if they win one more championship together, or they win a championship together. I would not be shocked at all. Smitty, Travis Kelce, exited practice earlier today. Exited practice. Sorry, it's moving quick. Exited practice earlier today due to an injury. Not sure of the details. Yeah, I mean, he's getting older, you know? Like, it's definitely feasible that he starts missing time. And I think people overdraft him. I draft tight ends later on. I try and get Waller and Hockenson before they become Waller and Hockenson, which is what we did last year here on the show. Go get Waller, go get Hockenson. They turned into Waller and Hockenson like Cinderella overnight, and they didn't turn back. they've stayed monsters, although I worry a little bit about Hawkinson and Detroit in that situation, but I still like him a lot. But I think he's going to get potentially less red zone looks and touchdown potential and opportunities. But I still like Hawkinson a lot. I like that his ADP's falling, so he's going on like round 6, 7, not like round 4. So I think Hawkinson's value is getting kind of baked in. It's baked in.
It didn't record.
Baked in, boys!
Hawkinson's value, the risk is pretty baked in at 6-7 round range. Who is this year's Waller? Antong, I don't know if there is a Waller in this draft class, but there may be a Hawkinson, if that makes sense. I don't think there'll be a person that climbs into the top 3 that you're not expecting. Kyle Pitts could be, but we're all expecting Kyle Pitts too, so he's not really Waller. He's going to have top 3 or 4 tight end upside. Everyone's paying that value. So there is no hidden Waller. There's probably a hidden Hawkinson or 2. And I would probably call that player Noah Fant. Maybe Goddard. Maybe Higbee. Tyler Higbee could get targeted. Stafford did love throwing the football to a man named Hawkinson, the Hawkness monster. So they very much could feed Higbee a ton. I like Higbee. I like Tunyon and Logan Thomas, even though they're not unknown players. They were 3rd and 4th last year in tight end rankings. But, I mean, these 2 guys shouldn't be getting drafted in 10, 11, 12 round areas. Like, you should be able to take Hawkinson round 7 or... I'm sorry, Hawkinson. You should be taking Logan Thomas around round 7 or 8, not round 10, 11, 12. And Tunyon, 11 TDs last year. I mean, he should be going at like round 8, 9, 10, but he's going in 11, 12, 13, sometimes the end of your draft. So, obvious names that are falling way too far that can still be Hawkinson appeal given the cost, whether you know their names or not, it doesn't matter. Like, the biggest steal of 2021 quarterback drafting was Aaron Rodgers. People go, who's your sleeper in 2020? Smitty at quarterback. Who's your sleeper? Who's the breakout quarterback? Aaron Rodgers. What? Aaron Rodgers can't be a sleeper. He's a big name. Yeah, he can be a sleeper, Bob, because the only thing that defines a sleeper is people are sleeping on his value. And Aaron Rodgers, because everybody decided that in 2019 without Adams, he was hurt for majority of the entire year. Without Adams, the Green Bay Packers ran too much and they weren't going to return to passing. BS. Rodgers was the biggest sleeper quarterback in 2020 drafting because everybody slept on him. Russell Wilson's being slept on. Big time. Big time. And people sleep on guys all the time. And so when people say, hey, that guy can't be a sleeper, he's a big name player. Untrue. A-Rod's still being kind of slept on. You know, people want to root against him. Like I've been ranting for a good 20 minutes already. This man gets no respect, and he should get respect because he has the potential to be a top 5 fantasy and NFL quarterback. He could be the number 1. I mean, we know he still has it in him to be the number 1 or number 2 fantasy football option. Russell Wilson's got top 5 upside. There are a lot of quarterbacks that have that kind of appeal. And so when people say, then why do you draft Josh Allen? I draft them both. So you can't get me. You can't get me on quarterbacks. Oh, you're an early quarterback drafter. I'm both. I support both. When the plan of attack is to get CeeDee Lamb and he falls, not going to happen anymore. But all offseason we've been drafting Lamb in round 4 with grins from ear to ear on our faces as we've been stealing Lamb away over and over and over. Now that players are not going where we had hoped anymore, we knew that Lamb would climb, we knew that Jefferson would climb, we knew that Javonte Williams was climbing. Then I start looking toward, when all things are equal and I like the quarterback better, I'm going to quarterback. Doesn't mean I won't take A-Rod and Russell Wilson in other drafts where their values are good and there's players that fall. When players don't fall, I love owning Josh Allen. All right. Next piece of news. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Washington coach Ron Rivera said Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke will compete for a starting job. It is. Let's be clear. It is Fitzpatrick's job to lose. Maybe Heineke's going to get an open door to see what he can do. But the good news here is that Fitzy may not stay healthy, and you have a competent backup if you're a Washington football team fan. You have two quarterbacks that could probably get the job done. I don't know if you're winning anything like a Super Bowl, bro, but you could get into the playoffs with this team. And then if Fitz goes down, you got Heineke to maybe win a game out. I don't know. No Super Bowl is being won this year, in my opinion, but having two quarterbacks is not a problem. But it will be Fitzpatrick that starts, and until he gets hurt, it will be, I believe, his job. But don't discount Heineke. He's a pretty fun option. Zach Wilson signed his rookie contract. I think Zachy boy is going to be a good quarterback. He's going to be a top 5-6 quarterback in the NFL eventually. I think he's got that kind of appeal. He could be like Trevor Lawrence and like Trey Lance, kind of all three of these guys I could see vying for that. Who's the better of the class year in and year out? I don't think one of them just skyrockets above the other. I think they could all kind of fight year in and year out. What an amazing quarterback class this was. We got three elite quarterbacks out of this draft class. What an amazing 2021 QB class it was. I know you Fields owners are losing your crap right now. They're like, holy crap, Smitty's not talking about Fields. What about Fields, Smitty? What about him? I think he'll be okay, but he's not in this category or in this tier, in my opinion. He still has plenty of time to prove me wrong. I'm not going to rule out the idea of him proving me wrong. Like, I don't get, total bust feelings when I look at him. I just don't love the situation really for him as a rookie now. I don't love the situation long term. Trey Lance's situation is fantastic long term. Wilson's is going to be, because they're turning that franchise around. Trevor Lawrence, same thing. They're building really good things there. I'm not saying that Chicago can't do well and be a good franchise, but I don't like Nagy. I feel like there's a lot of problems that could arise, and I feel like there's just the talent level is not the same as Wilson, Lawrence, and Trey Lance, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Bob, I'll see you later, my friend. I think we're out of news for the day. Let me go ahead and check. I think, yeah, that'll do it. We're all caught up on news. Now it's time to go back to the classroom.
It's time to go to school.
Time to go to school. Okay, quarterback rankings I think we're going to do today. We're going to talk a little bit about quarterbacks. We've already brushed on it a little bit, but I think it's important. It's a great topic, and it's something that we need to go over kind of consistently with injuries. Like Dak got hurt, so now it's time to kind of rank these guys again. Kind of time to maybe show you where I'd slot Dak in a rankings if we're walking into a draft right now. We can brush up on Dynasty as we do it, but we'll do it from a redraft perspective mainly, and then kind of go from there. So I think number 1 and 2, you could almost even put them. You can almost even put them as like one tied for one. You know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily think. Yeah, Dak's hurt right now. He's not hurt horribly bad. It's upper body issue. But I think Mahomes is the consensus. I kind of quietly like Allen Moore right now. I have gone back and forth this offseason. So this would be QBs 2021. This tier is literally a big tier break. I know a lot of people like Kyler. I like Kyler too. But in my opinion, this is a significant tier break. I think 3 and 4 are essentially a tie in my mind between Kyler, who I typically draft ahead of Herbert in mock drafts because I don't want people taking Herbert too high. What I find is that when we do these things, these ranking shows or we do mock drafts, and I take Herbert in a place where I'm being bold and I'm making a statement about Herbie, all that happens is people reach like a round or two more than they should. So I kind of go back and forth on how I present this because I don't want people being reckless with Herbie. But 3 and 4 is Herbert and Kyler for me. I think Lamar is a very close 5th. And I think you could argue A-Rod as well. So I would almost say like this would be a 5 and 6. I could definitely go through moments where I have A-Rod ranked higher than Lamar. I go through moments where I have Herbert ranked higher than Kyler. I'm a human being. I think it's important to admit that things change for even us so-called analysts in the business. Not everything is clear-cut all the time. I don't have, I'm not like this guy that you're listening to on this, boring podcast or whatever, where they're like, where's your quarterback 4? And he looks on his sheet and he's got these projections he did one time in a sitting, and he's got this formula he doesn't stray from. It's all numbers driven, and he's like, it's Aaron Rodgers is the number 4, and he literally walks all off season long without changing anything because of his projection and these numbers. That's not me. I fly by the seat of my pants. It's how I do it. It's not for everybody, but it's how I roll. And I'll tell you right now, I admit, I go back and forth on these two, Kyler and Herbert. I go back and forth on ranking A-Rod or Lamar or A-Rod over each other. I think Russell Wilson almost deserves to be in this group right here. I rank him 7 though, but I feel like he is kind of in a way interchangeable with these guys. I'm sorry, I saw some super chats come in. I apologize. Let me get to them real quick. D2, I see you, bro. I'm sorry. Sometimes they slip by because there's a lot of comments at one point, and then they kind of let me put that on screen. D2, W Stu, no A-Rod to Washington football team next year. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Take a lap. Okay, D2, I'm sorry. I appreciate your super chat. You are the man, the myth, the legend. D2, attaboy D2. Another one. Happy 28th B-Day to Dak. In 4 we trust. Hopefully Dak's healthy come week 1. It sounds like everything's minor. Just some issues with his shoulder or whatever. A little more for the lunch fund. Missed you first and second. Sorry, D2. I see it now. D2W Stu. Appreciate you, man. I got all your super chats. Sorry I didn't acknowledge them when they first came in. Smitty Customs. Attaboy, John. John wants a Smitty Custom. Okay. So, what do we do here? Now we've got Kyler. We've got Herbert off. We've got Lamar. Dak and Wilson. Like, that. This is the problem. Is all of these guys right here are very interchangeable. Like, Dak could be number 5. Wilson could be number 5. A-Rod could be number 5. Lamar could be number 5. I kind of find it funny. Here comes Lemon Pepper saying Dak not top 5. That's what I'm saying right now. You can't really, with a straight face, tell me that Dak can't be 7 or that Dak can't be 5. Like, it's really, really hard to argue against anybody that says Russell Wilson's number 5. Russell Wilson has the potential to be the number 5 quarterback. He's done it before. He's got a lot of weapons. There's no reason he can't be. There's no reason A-Rod can't be number 4 or 5. He could be number 1. There's no reason Lamar, if he's healthy and running and doing well, can't be, easily number 5. So all of these are very arguable. I find it funny how upset some people get based on this right here. This is probably the most negativity on my rankings that I get is in this range here, because if you're a Dak fan, this is madness having him 7. If you're a Wilson fan, it's crazy having him not number 4 or 5. If you're a Lamar fan, you want him in the top, 3 or 4. If you're an A-Rod believer still, and I am too, you want him where he probably could rank is like right here. So it's a tough thing to rank these quarterbacks, and you're always going to get negativity and people that think it's wrong because their players ranked too low. Their players ranked too low. Or A-Rod is going to regress like Alpha is saying, which is fine, and that's not a horrible stance, bro. Things happen all the time. People get hurt. Show the guns, Smitty. I'm still working on the guns, bro. We're almost there. Okay, so drop to 50 for your customer. Okay, brother. I dropped 50. You dropped 50. You dropped 50. What are you talking about? I'm checking my emails. Oh, damn. Oh, you Kurt dropping the 50 spot. Wants a custom. Oh, you Kurt. What do you want on your shirt, broski? The inventory's coming in, so I'm gonna make it live on the show. I don't know what show I'm gonna make it, but I need you to give me at least 4 names that you want on the shirt. It could be players, it could be teams. Tell me what you want. If you want a Smitty one, or if you want it replaced with your name, whatever. It's all it's a Smitty custom. I'm gonna make it live for you. He's the first YouTube order here, but we launched it last night. So brand new Smitty customs. Where's the shirt at? This is what OU Kurt just bought. Smitty custom, baby. But he can get it customized. So OU Kurt, email me. We'll figure it out. Herbert, okay, he wants and Herb, take a lap in bold. Take a lap. And Herbert the GOAT, bold as well. We can figure it all out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, back to the rankings. Appreciate you, bro. We need some music. Okay. Now what? Hurts, Brady, Burrow, Tannehill. Where are we ranking the rest of these bad boys? I kind of feel like 8 will be Hurts. 8 and 9 will be Hurts and Burrow. Almost in like that tie situation. Hurts and Burrow. Hurts and Burrow could punch you in the throat a little bit too. Hurts and Burrow. Terry dropping the 50 super. Terry wants a shirt. OU Kurt and Terry, you're both getting phone calls with your shirt purchases as well. So Terry dropping a 50 for a shirt. OU Kurt dropping a 50 for a shirt. Terry, this bad boy. Terry, you can email me the specifics on what you want in your shirt, but we're gonna make your shirt live. OU Kurt, we're making your shirt live. You guys are first in line because you bought it on the show live. I had an order or two already, but not on the show. Doing it on the show, when I promote it on the show, we're making them on the show. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll work out the details. And then when we're live, I'm going to make your shirt in front of everybody, and we're going to make it, amazing. We're going to make it amazing. You guys are going to get a special job, a special shirt job by yours truly, Smitty. Look at Terry wearing the Take a Lap shirt already. Okay. Attaboy. OU Kurt and Terry. Where do we rank Watson? That's a good question, but, he's not coming back in week 1, but, let's say he was to be back by week 10 or something. He's got to iron out everything. Everything's got to settle. The criminal investigation has got to go away. It's like 100,000 hoops he's got to jump through, but I suppose you would put Watson right here, like in this crowd, like the Lamar, A-Rod, Wilson, Dak crowd. This is where Watson, if he was starting, would probably go. I mean, you could argue Lamar, A-Rod, Wilson, or Dak over him even if he was in there. You know what I mean? Like before all the drama, you'd have him probably right here. Like if nothing had happened and everything was normal, you would flirt with having him potentially at the bottom of this tier, but like hanging on because he's definitely a level below these two. But he would have for sure been in this tier had he not had anything going on this offseason with all that drama. Coming back with drama, Houston being against him, a lot of things to, being like Rusty coming back. There's no way you can have him even if he's starting games, in week 10, there's no way you could rank him ahead of these guys because of the rust and not the uncertainty, and the offense is limited and there's just a mess going on. His headspace. So Watson, we're going to leave him off the board right now because I don't want to mislead anybody. But Hurts and Burrow. So now what? Now is it Tannehill and Brady? Is it Brady, Tannehill? So 10 would be Brady and Tannehill. So this would be 10 and 11. Brady and Tannehill. Stafford, Matt Ryan, the rookie quarterbacks. I mean, it gets crazy. It's almost like Stafford. So we'll put Stafford right there. So Brady, Tannehill, Stafford, kind of a three-way tie for 10, 11, 12. So 10, 11, 12. That's kind of how I rank it. I know that's messy. I know that isn't what everybody wanted. I know people want a very, very definitive answer from me. Hey, who's your number 3? My number 3 is Kyler and Herbert. Hey, Smitty, who's your number 6? My number 6 is Lamar, A-Rod, Wilson, and Dak. That's my number 6 quarterback. Who's your number 1, Smitty? I am leaning Allen, mostly because of this right here. Okay, because I'm leaning Allen because you're talking about a round apart. And if you're drafting Allen, who I'm already liking as much as Mahomes, and you're drafting him at 5.1 or 5.2 or 4.08, and you're drafting Mahomes at 3.4, you're talking about a round or more difference on a guy I probably like better, and that affords me the ability to get CeeDee Lamb. Or if I'm lucky and I'm playing in Grandma's league, maybe Justin Jefferson falls. Maybe J.K. Dobbins falls. Maybe who the hell knows who falls. But all I know is third round, I'm liking third round a lot. I don't want to give up one of those players there that I could get, especially if the running backs get moved up. So here's what's going to happen in fantasy football in round 2. And I did a round 2 video you guys probably have already seen. If you haven't, go watch it on my channel. It's the most recent video I did. And hit the thumbs up on your way in the door. But here's the problem that we're all facing right now with Cam Akers going down. Okay, so round 2, round 3. So Cam Akers goes down. Cam is out. That pulls all of the running backs up. So running backs get pulled up. We're talking about guys like Gibson, who were going in the middle of 2. Gibson now gets pulled up 2 or 3 spots because running back's even more scarce now. So it's not just Gibson goes up 1 spot. He goes up 2 or 3, 4 spots because now people freak out a little earlier. They may have left running back falling and gone wide receiver here. Now, because of Cam Akers going down, wide receiver might not seem as attractive in round 2. Multiple people might abandon the wide receiver in round 2 strategy, which is going to vault Gibson from mid-second to top of second. It's going to take Clyde from about 3-1 to 3-3. It's going to take Clydey boy all the way up into the mid to late second round easy. But what it's going to do, it's going to have to offset a little bit. It's going to drive wide receivers down a little bit. So now you may have had a guy like Ridley going here. Ridley may fall to 3.1 sometimes. A.J. Brown was getting ranked around the bottom of the second round because people were getting running back hungry. Now they're getting more running back hungry. Now it's going to force potentially J.K. up. It's going to force Clyde Edwards-Helaire up. It's going to bump potentially 1 or 2 guys down. So A.J. Brown could fall to this range right here, and he normally wouldn't. Jefferson can go from like right here to here. So the third round will probably be pretty tricky to predict, and it might be a blessing in disguise in some cases because maybe you would have taken CEH here and DK here. But now that CEH is going here, And if you had to take CEH there, maybe Justin Jefferson falls to that range. Maybe you do reach on a CeeDee Lamb, and in the end, instead of getting DK and Clyde, now that Clyde's going here, you still get Lamb, and you still love your team. It's going to be a little bit tough to predict the round 2 and 3 and the ramifications of an injury to Cam and being removed and raptured from the running back pool. It's going to be pretty tough to predict how it's going to affect every single draft as we're going. Burrow coming off injury too. Dak is going to probably be fine. We don't know. I'm pretty sure Dak will be fine. It sounds like it's minor. Coach is saying it's minor. Let me put that news back on the screen because you guys seem to be talking about the Dak thing right now. So Dak's shoulder injury is minor according to McCarthy. Now, I mean, could he be misleading us a little bit? He could. But I do believe that Dak will probably be fine, but he is an injury concern because of the ankle alone, and then you've got this now. So there's worry a little bit about ranking him too high, but I think Dak, if he stays healthy, he's going to ball out. I think the Cowboys are going to ball out. Dak is going to be fine. Alexa, show me the front door. Is that the shirt order for OU Kurt and Terry Roberts? Because once the shipment comes in, I can make these bad boys. Okay, we got a delivery. That might be a hat. That might be a hat. I think I had a hat delivery today. Okay. Alexa off. Fatigue injuries. Lat strain. Drain the main vein. Yeah, Dak should be okay. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get into Fantasy Football Court. Fantasy Football Court, you know what time it is?
It's time for Fantasy Football Court.
Hear ye.
Court is in session.
Time for Fantasy Football Court. Bring your questions. I am the judge, jury, and executioner. Hear ye. Step up. Let's go. First question is not a question. It's a statement. And statement is Burrow over both 10 times out of 10. I think he's saying Burrow over Dak. Specula's liking some Dak action. I don't hate any bold take like that. Do what you want. Brady and Tannehill over Burrow. You could argue that. I have Burrow having a monster year. I don't mind Brady over him. I don't know that I'd draft him Brady over Burrow. I kind of like Burrow, man. I kind of like him as a sneaky option. I'm going to take Burrow, but you're not crazy. But Burrow for me. But that's close. That's arguable. It's close. CeeDee Lamb or Judy. Come on, Wonk. Contempt of court. No court for you for 2 weeks. Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen. Very, very arguable on both sides, but I'm going to say Keenan Allen has a, does he get banged up though? I don't know, but he could flirt with top 5-6 wide receiver numbers. I think he's going to get fed a bunch by our boy Herbert. I like McLaurin too, but he feels more like he's going to get in the top 10. Allen could get in the top 6. Grossman, contempt. The answer is Lamb. If you ask a question, the answer is probably Lamb. No, I like Terry McLaurin, but he's a 4th round player. CeeDee Lamb's climbing into high round 3 right now because people are finally got the memo that it's CeeDee Lamb season. People have been unaware apparently until right now. And analysts all over are like, CeeDee Lamb, I like him. I like CeeDee Lamb, by the way. Lamb, easy call. Judy finishes as a blank wide receiver this season. I mean, I would say very safely top 20. I would say he has the potential to be top 15, and he has the potential to be much more than that, but we're going to put it at a safe like 20, but hopefully 15, and then hopefully we start talking about him to an extreme degree heading into 2022. Could potentially have ups and downs, which is why, he may get held out of that top, 12 to 15. Saquon or Zeke, but I love Judy. Saquon or Zeke? Zeke by a lot. Partially because you can cuff him to Tony Pollard. You've got a top 6 to 10 running back no matter what. Very, very safe. Barkley worries me. Barkley was going at 4 in redraft. Zeke was going at 7, 8, 9. Multiple weeks ago, I told you we need to flip that. And then news started coming out. I don't think we personally flipped it. I'm not naive. But I was saying we needed to try to. And so we mock drafted a lot. But that didn't move things too much. I think we helped move Zeke up a little bit. But what did it was all the reports about him being in the best shape of his life. People started to, I think about you could handcuff him. Then the Barkley news started hitting that he may or may not be ready fully for week 1. Now Barkley's going at 8, 9, 10 overall. Now Zeke's going top 4 or 5. So, White Mamba, why are you asking the question when they're almost 5 picks apart now? But I still appreciate you. Higbee or Bob Tunyon? I go back and forth on this one. I really like Bob Tunyon, but Higbee's got that Hawkinson potential upside. I would say split them. One league go Higbee, one league go Bobby Boy Tunyon. I like them both. OU Kurt says, I'm out of order. You're out of order. This whole courtroom is out of order. I agree. I don't know what we're talking about, but I agree with OU Kurt. Mark. Which? Like a witch. Which third round running back would you trust to be your running back 1? J.K. Dobbins. Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be the easy call, but Clyde's now a second rounder. Cam Akers going down. Changed all that. OU Kurt. Getting Saquon as my running back 2 is okay. I mean, of course, he's a top 10 pick still. But, I mean, I can't say yes to this because I don't know what other players are on the board. Like, Antong, I'll be honest, man. I'm flirting with the idea of taking one of those top 5 wide receivers over Barkley if they're on the board. So me saying yes to this might make you feel like Barkley's the guy I pick in this exact situation, whatever you're talking about. But I might take a Ridley. I might take DK Metcalf. I might take Hopkins. I might take one of those guys over Barkley right now and take a Gibby or a JK or a Clyde Edwards-Helaire or a Najee Harris later instead of going Saquon. So I don't know that I love Saquon right now. I'm not avoiding him entirely, but I'm certainly not going out of my way to draft Saquon Barkley. I'm going to send this link to a couple people because I was going to have some guests on today. Let me see if I can get a couple people in here. And we can talk a little bit of foosball with some guests. Let me send this over to my boy. Let's see. Live now, if around. I've been typing A-Rod so much that I put I'm live right now if you're around and I put A-Rod instead of around. Who else was I sending this link to? Oh, my boy Mike. Mike, where are you, Mike? Mike, we're live. Live if you are around. And let me send this to my boy Rob from Fantasy Football State of Mind. See if he wants to come in. Live if around. A-Rod, if A-Rod. I'm live right now if A-Rod. Okay, we should get a guest out of the 3 or 4 that I just sent out. Crazy to go Clyde at 8 and Dobbins at 13. Yeah, a little bit. Because, bro, it's not that I don't like him there. It's not that you can't get that kind of value out of Clyde and that kind of value out of Dobbins, but you're essentially buying these guys, and I know they're climbing. You may not be able to get Dobbins in round 3 anymore, but you just could have a minute ago. And Clyde, you could have gotten round 3 a minute ago as well. Both might be climbing into round 2, but neither is climbing into round 1. So if you do that, you're essentially losing your first round pick and you're getting a second in a high third or a second in a low second. You know what I mean? Like, this is how you walk out of your draft overpaying twice in a row and then making it feel very light. You don't want your team to feel light walking out. If you end up going early on a couple players in a row, go early on Diggs and Gibson. And then at least when you're looking at your team end of draft, you're like, I went early, but I don't feel it. I don't feel like it impacted me at all. If you go Clyde and Dobbins with your first and second round picks, you're going to look at it and go, I feel like I got impacted a little bit. Like, they're great second rounders. Like, I don't mind you taking both in the second round. I don't know if you could trade your 8 overall for like a 15 and then a third rounder. If you can trade your first rounder for a second and a third, don't give up your 4th rounder or make it some kind of even Steven swap. Like, give up a 10th rounder and your number 8, get somebody second and third rounders. Then we're in business, bro. Then you can get Clyde and Dobbins, and now you have an extra 3rd round to get maybe Lamb and Keenan Allen, or Lamb and Jefferson if you're lucky. But yeah, no. As much as I love those guys, no, broski. Smitty, give the people what they want, more auction drafts. No, Joshua! People hate auctions around here. I get it. I will go JT and Clyde most likely. I don't want you to stray away from JK, but JK could fall to round 3. You might get JK too. You might get all 3 running backs. Just be patient. Webb wants to know if you're considering Clyde over JT. He was, but don't rip him apart for it, Webb, because Clyde's got the potential, but you can't buy that potential. You got to accept it and take advantage of it. And he knows that. He's just kind of like maybe trying to toy with the idea. Is it crazy? It's not crazy for us to reach for Lamb in round 3. It wasn't. And there's times where reaching's okay. JK round 3 is like hitting the lottery. Spacula, he's been falling quite a bit. There are people that hate JK Dobbins. And Spacula, I know that every league's different because I have my HeySmitty.com text service. And people text me all day long. And literally, I've got messages from people where they're on the clock in round 4 in a 12-team league, and JK's there. And I've got messages from other people that are drafting at 2.10, and I'm like, okay, well, JK could fall to your 3 whatever pick coming up, and he's like, no, JK went at 2.5. So it's all depends on your league, bro. But I hear what you're saying. In your league specifically, Spacula, you're not finding JK falling. And do you live in the vicinity of JK? Because that can also impact it. It's like I'm in Arizona, and Kyler Murray goes a little bit quicker in a draft here. So, just saying. What do you got to say to people who have doubts on AJ Brown? I understand the doubts. I disagree with them to an extent, but I do feel like I've moved AJ Brown below DK, Ridley, and Justin Jefferson. Not that I've moved him out of the tier, but it's certainly something to worry about. Okay, so we've got a special guest here. Let me toss him on screen here. What's up, my man? Mr. Crocker. I can't hear you yet. We'll let you get the audio worked out. This is Eric Crocker, everybody. Former NFL athlete and YouTuber. Nothing yet. No audio yet. We'll get it worked out. You guys have a question for the man, drop it, and we'll get it loaded up. We got 89 of you in here. Hit the thumbs up on your way in the door, please, as we get ready for Mr. Crocker. I'm going to put you off screen there until you get that worked out. There should be a audio setting somewhere that you can mess with. Zach Ertz, great sleeper. If Zach Ertz gets traded to the Bills, he'll be a fine grab in 2021. But, until then, I don't know about... I probably grab him in, the end of a draft in anticipation. You know what I mean? Webb wants to know who Crocker is reaching for this year. There you go. I hear you. I hear you. I hear something.
Okay, hold on. All right, are you able to hear me?
I am. We got you. Loud and clear.
All right, and is it on my mic? Just make
Yeah,
sure.
I can hear you scratching it.
All right.
You're scratching it
Wi-Fi should clear up.
you're scratching it like people scratching for CeeDee Lamb climbing up the ADP ranks.
He's doing good right now, man. It looks like he's cooking all through training camp right now.
Yeah,
at least the Cowboys defensive backs.
Hey, for people that don't know much about you, can you give us 2 or 3 sentences? Tell everybody about who you are, what you've been up to, what you're going to be doing.
Oh yeah, so I have Croc Talk TV. It's a YouTube channel where I get a lot of my thoughts, kind of more based around the 49ers, but I also have a fantasy show on there with my guy Jason DePonte. I have QB Mondays with my guy Greg Pinelli, Whiteout Wednesday, but a lot of it again is kind of centered around the 49ers. And then on Twitter at Eric_Crocker, you guys can find me putting out a lot of content on there. I played former professional athlete, played the New York Jets 2013, and I played several years at the Arena Football League. So.
Yeah, glad to have you here, man. We're talking a little fantasy, if that's okay. We could talk a little Niner news, but you and I both, I believe it was you were with me on this, but we both thought Trey Lance was getting drafted by the Niners, right? I believe we both did, right?
I after listening and hearing all the noise, I did think that there was a chance that they would take Mac Jones. For me, it definitely would have been Trey Lance. And I actually even kind of put out this tweet. So I always say hey, I put this tweet out there so nobody can say that I didn't really say this, but
right.
I had said before, about maybe a week before the draft, that if I had to bet my life savings on any of these quarterbacks being successful, and that's including Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, any of them, then I would take Trey Lance.
I love.
There's something about him, man. And me being around guys in the locker rooms and just seeing how guys are, and when you start to kind of hear who Trey Lance is as a person and the work ethic and just how he goes above and beyond to, improve his game and all those things, how he takes coaching, how much he wants to win. When you start to hear all these things and put it together, it's like, man, that's somebody I would bet my money on, that's somebody I would bet my money on. So I didn't really get that vibe from some of the other guys for whatever reason, but I definitely got it from him. And I think those are, a lot of times people think that guys flop or are bust because of a lack of talent. And that's typically not the case. There's some outside reasons why guys typically don't do as well. Sometimes it can be the circumstances, but other times it can be who the person is. And when you find out who Trey Lance is, that was somebody I was willing to bet my money on.
Yeah, I love him. I think he, especially when you put him in this Niner system, which is going to hold his hand, and there's so much, so many avenues for him to score the football and just take plays. I truly believe everyone's a little bit too quick to assume just because there's coach speak and that Trey Lance can't somehow find his way on the field in week 1. Obviously, Jimmy's doing well. Jimmy's attitude's been on point. He's definitely looking like he's got the advantage, but we're still so early on. Why is everybody drawing conclusions what if Jimmy looks awful? What if Trey Lance looks amazing? Yeah. And this offense, you know better than anybody, is going to be different with Trey Lance in there than it will be with Jimmy. And there's something about that might be attractive to Shanahan, who felt that way when he drafted Trey Lance to begin with, because everyone said, take Fields, take Fields, take Fields. But he wanted something different, and he wanted something that was going to take him down a whole new avenue and path. And to assume that he, just because he said Jimmy's our guy, well, Jimmy is the guy right now, and Trey Lance wasn't even signed at that moment. What if Trey Lance looks on fire? Like, do you think there's any reason they would start him if him and Jimmy were on the same playing field? Do you think they still want to, no matter what, hold him out to develop him? Or do you think that, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if it's close, I think you still, or even, you still go with Jimmy Garoppolo unless you can move him. All right. Now, if it is close or even, I still think you give Jimmy Garoppolo that first opportunity to maybe show that he can't be the guy. And then you go with the rookie and you take whatever lumps you have throughout the year. But I think if it's close, you go with Jimmy Garoppolo. You've won games with him. He's played well at that times. Never like great, but I don't think you rush to play the rookie if you don't have to. Now, if for whatever reason, maybe a quarterback on another team gets hurt and Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value goes up, then at that standpoint, I think, yeah, you can say, you know what, let's go ahead and move Garoppolo and just go with the rookie and take whatever lumps we have. And there will be lumps. I don't care who you are, you're going to have them. Even look at Justin Herbert last year. And he played amazing. And even then, they still weren't like a winning team. And I'm not saying that's the same thing that will happen to the 49ers, but rookies are rookies. So if it's me, I would go with Garoppolo and let him kind of, give us kind of the answers to how what direction this is going to go.
Either way, I feel like it's going to be the same result. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you're going to be in the same place at the same time at the end of the year. If Jimmy is so bad, which I don't think he'll be, he won't be bad, but they'll replace him. Like, they'll react quickly. But I just feel like, the future is Trey. You've drafted Trey, number 3. You've already made the statement. So when people get defensive and say Jimmy's the guy, they wouldn't do that to him. They'll respect him. That's not the way that the Niners, deal with things. Well, they just drafted Trey Lance number 3 overall. They pretty much made the biggest statement they can. It's just a matter of, will it develop Trey Lance better to wait, or will it not? And I think in today's NFL, we're seeing these rookie quarterbacks come in so early now that I don't know that it's going to be any help at all to wait 2 or 3 games and come in versus coming in week 1, especially if you get to prepare a little bit more with the ones in practice. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like sometimes you don't always practice against the ones too, though. But I feel like if you're preparing this offense that will be very different once Trey's in there, you're preparing this offense earlier. I think you can deploy more of the menu in week 4, 5, and 6 than if you just throw Trey Lance in 4, 5, or 6 and you try to do different things that you haven't done yet. So I don't know, man. I feel like you can still win games with Trey in there while he's learning and making mistakes. And for that reason, I feel like he'd be more prepared by midseason than throwing him in during midseason. But
right, and I think that's typically the case, especially when you're picking that high like that. But I think the 49ers is just a unique scenario because they lost so many games because the quarterback was hurt last year, and then they traded up to get even higher, to get to 3. So I think the 49ers are in a unique situation where ideally, yeah, like you would want to play the rookie, and we probably can win games with them, but they are just in a scenario where they don't 100% have to. And I think that's part. Like I you don't want to have to take the rookie lumps if you don't absolutely have to, even though you might at the end of the day get the same kind of, I guess, level of play as far as outcome.
Yeah. The question here from Fantasy Champs, Jefferson or Lamb. I mean, I love Lamb. Lamb's going to be, I think, a top 5 wide receiver, but you're drafting Jefferson ahead of him. And I think both of them are going to be absolute fire in 2021. Jefferson's like my quiet dark horse number 1 overall wide receiver at the end of the year when push comes to shove.
Not right now.
And Lamb, I think, could climb into that top 5, which everyone's going to eventually see. What do you think about both of these guys, and where do you rank both of them against each other?
Yeah, I'm actually, if for fantasy purposes, I would take Lamb over Jefferson. But like you said, I expect Jefferson to go higher. So if I can wait a round or two and be able to grab Lamb a little bit later, then I would go that route. I think Lamb is going to have a breakout year.
Yep.
Last year he was just just in the slot only. It looks like this year they're moving him around. They're going to have him on the outside. They're going to have him in the slot. Seems like they are making him more of a focal point in the offense, giving him opportunities in the red zone. So, yeah, I take Lamb, because at the end of the year, if their production is very similar, I would not at all be surprised. Is maybe one more touchdown from Jefferson going to help you win your league? I mean, maybe, but what if you could have taken, maybe a running back or something, because everybody's reaching for Jefferson? I would wait and take Lamb.
Yeah, if you were needing one wide receiver, that isn't a bad option, because, like, let's say you were still able to get Clyde, or you were able to get, a running back that made sense for you, and then you could take Lamb later. But, Lamb could – it wouldn't shock me at all. I was asked this question a long time ago, like months and months ago, that who are my two players that I feel like could be the number one overall wide receiver that aren't ever mentioned as guys that could be the number one overall wide receiver. So it can't be a Hill or a Adams, and it was Lamb and Jefferson. And the Lamb thing got a lot of hate months and months ago. But now everyone and their mother loves Lamb. Lamb's not a shocking top 1 to 5 wide receiver to anybody at this point. It kind of sucks when you see guys climb up really, really fast here in August, and then you don't get to take advantage of it in redraft. You still with me? I think we lost him. He'll be back, I think. Oh, there he is. What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I stream off of one of my phones, and then someone called. So
oh, no worries.
It's like I have two phones. They called the other one, and then it does that. So
yeah, no problem. What other sleepers do you have pegged for 2021 that people maybe aren't talking about enough? It could be any position.
Now, I haven't had a whole lot of conversations as far as fantasy goes, but I'd say probably Laviska Shenault.
Okay.
I'd say he's someone that, he is in a situation where they do have a lot of weapons. I wasn't extremely high on Shenault coming out, but I do think that Shenault is someone that right now you can start to kind of get the ball in his hands and then see what he does from, just a pure weapons type standpoint. I think he is somebody that, can come in right now and have more of an impact.
Yeah, I think he does have some upside. It's tough to decide between him and Chark, because DJ Chark was, such a highly ranked wide receiver 1 year ago from today. Galladay and Chark, I talk all the time about how people have such short memories of how high they had him. Everybody had Galladay in the top 6 to 10, top 6 to 12, and he's getting no respect in New York. Right. I think he's a very, very decent wide receiver to grab in 2021 drafts, because he falls into that place where you're taking him as a very low-end wide receiver 2, sometimes as your wide receiver 3. But Galladay falls really far sometimes, and he's still got top 10 potential. I think Chark, for the reasons you just said, Shenault's a big threat. They like him a lot. I still feel like Chark's a good bet at his ADP. I think both of them are. I think Lawrence is going to make one of them into a really good wide receiver. So the fact that neither is going way too high, I like. And I just don't know. What do you make of Urban Meyer and whether he's going to translate and everything he's got going on? It's almost like my mom drives with 2 feet. Okay. It's backwards. It doesn't make sense. I feel like Urban Meyer probably drives with 2 feet. He just does weird things. It could translate. At the end of the day, it might work out, but I just feel like it's awkward, and I'm not sure what to make of Urban Meyer. Will Urban Meyer's offense, will he translate into the NFL? Talk about that if you could.
Yeah, man, it's definitely interesting. I think sometimes with these college coaches, you never know how it's going to 100% translate. We saw Chip Kelly a few years ago have success early on. Now, obviously, he had a very unique offense, but the Eagles team that he took over was pretty talented, had some really good guys, Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, and stuff like that. Now you're starting from fresh with a rookie quarterback and trying to implement a mixture of your college stuff and, trying to translate it to the NFL. So we'll see how it's going to go. I mean, it looks like so far, at least the reports coming out of Jacksonville is that Trevor Lawrence is playing well, and maybe having that quarterback can really help you from that standpoint. But, Yeah, I think in general, I'm intrigued to see how he works out because a lot of times you can't really tell with these rookie head coaches. I mean, he's never even coached in the NFL at all, so that's very interesting and intriguing.
Yeah, it is intriguing. It is intriguing. ETN is a tough player to like rank to, and then you got James Robinson, and it just felt like a mess when it went down on draft day. You're like, oh my god, like James Robinson went from a second round pick in fantasy to like, where the heck do we draft him now? Where do we rank him? He's on borrowed time, right? Is he? We don't know because Urban Meyer talks a lot about using ETN as a wide receiver or a lot as a wide receiver. I think he'll still get touches. I think he could be very much like an Antonio Gibson. Do you think ETN has Antonio Gibson type production as a rookie, or do you think he gets held back by Urban Meyer in his kind of like thinking?
I think he gets held back by having Robinson in the backfield too. I mean, like that's a guy who played extremely well as a rookie, undrafted. I think when you get value from it was interesting for me right away to see them draft Etienne at the top, considering they have an undrafted rookie playing well at running back. We all know the value of running back in the NFL. So if you can have an undrafted guy, why would you draft a guy first round to play the same position? Now, he has come out and said that he's looking to possibly play Etienne at receiver or maybe cross-train him, but he's not a receiver. I mean, he is a defensive back. So, I mean, he is a running back. So I'm intrigued to see how that whole thing plays out. Like you said, I think there is a scenario where it is Urban Meyer maybe holding him back a little bit just by trying to utilize him in different ways that he.
Yeah, it will be very, very interesting. Another player that I wanted to run by you. What do you consider your best position to scout? Like based on your professional career, and like, do you have more insight on quarterbacks than normal, or what do you think's your wheelhouse if you had to pin it down? And then I'll go that position.
I'd say definitely wide receiver or cornerback.
Okay.
Just because cornerback, I think that's because of like who I was, and I always use myself as kind of like a starting point with my size, my speed or lack thereof, and kind of how receivers made me feel and stuff. And then, challenges that I personally had. And then I can look at guys with similar height and weight or smaller and look at some of the smaller guys that do things I wish I could have done, or maybe big guys that move better than I did. And I'm like, okay, him being able to move like that is pretty special, right? And I can kind of see like change of directions. I know exactly what's going through the defensive backs' minds when they're guarding receivers and why certain things happen a certain way. So those things jump out to me right away. Then with the receivers, it's all about, from my experiences, understanding how different receivers affect defensive backs, and then understanding when there is a receiver that you would expect to move a certain way because of his height, weight, speed, etc., but then he's able to be multidimensional with how he moves. So I can see those things. I can feel it by watching the film. So receiver and defensive backs, those are definitely the two things I'm best at.
Let me ask you on this topic then. Jerry Jeudy is arguably already one of the best route runners in the entire NFL. It's been said by multiple people. And coming out of college, scout after scout felt like he was by far the best route runner and going to be one of the best route runners in the NFL very quickly. How good does he look to you in terms of his route running? And do you think that's an accurate depiction of him? And what do you think of Jerry Jeudy? I think Jerry Jeudy could be, I think we could be talking about him a lot like we're talking about these other wide receivers coming in this year that have that top 10 wide receiver potential. I think people are not going to draft Jerry Jeudy anywhere near there. You're going to get him in like 6-7 round range, but get potentially top 15 wide receiver production with flashes of him being top 10 potential. But am I wrong on that? Or what's your take on Jerry Jeudy?
Oh yeah. So Jerry Jeudy, with how he plays, it's extremely difficult because he plays and runs his routes as fast as anyone in the league. So like just straight line speed might not be as fast as say like a Henry Ruggs or a Tyreek Hill or anything like that. But his play speed en route is as fast as anyone. So it's really difficult to guard a receiver that can run in 15 yards full speed at you at his highest speed, but be able to sit the route down or be able to make moves without having to slow down. And I think he does those things extremely well, understanding how to attack defensive backs, their leverages, how to sit down his routes, how to push vertical and then give you stuff, but not lose any speed at all throughout a route, that's extremely tough. And that's what makes him so good, right? Now, the thing where he lacked at and why I wasn't, that's why he like was my wide receiver 2 in that class, was at the catch point. You know, he wasn't physical at the catch point. And you know, I looked and I'm like, man, like he had 9 drops and I bet like 8 of them were just because maybe somebody was around him or the threat of them possibly hitting him. And that's a mindset thing, I feel like, and it's like, well, can I teach that? And I don't know if you could just teach mindset. So that was one reason why I was a little bit, I don't want to say down on him because his route running and everything was so elite that I still had him high, but that was something I really took note of. And I don't know if it's going to get better. I really thought that overall he might be somebody that's more suited to be the wide receiver 2 on the team and be a really good 2, but somebody that you might not want to have to defend on to make the really tough, critical catches. So that was kind of my thought on Judy overall as a prospect.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how he develops. We'll see what happens with his quarterback position. Is it Locke? Is it Bridgewater? I think Bridgewater and Judy do have a good rapport from what I hear. I think a lot of Judy's drops too were quarterback driven, but we'll see what happens with a full year. Devontae Adams dropped the football.
Hold on. I got something to say with that.
Yeah.
All right. One of my boy Derek Graves, he's a wide receiver trainer, and one thing that he always says is all quarterbacks suck. It's on you to make him look good.
Yeah.
So if you do have a quarterback like Drew Lock, who's not great, or now Teddy Bridgewater, who's not great, right? Like, you got to make your guy look good, right?
True.
So if they're putting it in position for you to, at the very least, attempt to make a catch, like, if you're going to be that guy, then you got to pull that ball in. You know what I'm saying? So him having all the drops that he had last year, I'm still going to knock him a little bit because at some point, like, listen, you were taking top 15. Can you make your quarterback look good? And those are things that he's going to have to work on because it's not going to always be ideal, right? Like, not everybody's going to have Patrick Mahomes throwing crazy passes to him. Not everybody's going to have Russell Wilson who floats balls in there from 60 yards and they drop right in the bread basket. You might have a Drew Lock where you might not 100% know exactly where the ball is going to be, but you got to make him look good and pull in catches. And people will still know that the quarterback is bad.
You like Locke
at
or
least
Bridgewater?
You don't compound the problem.
Do you like Locke or Bridgewater better for this offense? I kind of think Bridgewater looks a little better. He has more upside. I'm not sold on Locke.
I think Bridgewater, man, when you just really watch him, he just doesn't do anything really that moves the needle for me. I mean, sometimes he makes these flashy plays. I was watching one game, I think, against Kansas City last year, and he made some plays and really kept them in position to be able to win, attempt to win that game. But I also noticed, man, like he's really quick to kind of check things down. I was watching one game and he completed like his first 7 passes, but they were all like under 5 yards. And maybe that's just how they called the plays.
He did,
but I think part of it is like, man, maybe that's him. Now it's tough though because.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mentioned it. Okay, so yeah, those are the things, I don't know. I'm just kind of going off what I watched. But from a fantasy standpoint, if you're looking at a receiver like Jerry Jeudy and how he could help, well, DJ Moore played extremely well. So I think that would give me like kind of the confidence that a guy like Jerry Jeudy can have a successful year with Teddy Bridgewater, maybe more so than Drew Lock.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I was going to ask you one more wide receiver question. We're actually almost out of time here anyway for the show, but Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith. Let's end it on this. These guys, like I know sometimes I can admit sometimes I get rookie fever, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong. Like this rookie class is special. It's going to produce it's going to inject so many top 25 overall players into fantasy football for the next decade. It's crazy. And I love Devontae Smith. I'm not worried about his size. I want you to speak on that briefly. And then he does everything else. Amazing. Number 1 in FBS in press coverage situations, like all the categories across the board. He's number 1, I believe, in FBS and in every single category when in press coverage, which is what everyone's worried about. Not to mention you probably can't get your hands on him anyway. But Jamar Chase walks in, plays with his old quarterback Burrow. The rapport is already there. Dude looks like a beast already in the very limited amount of time we've seen him. I think he drops Jefferson had 1,400 yards and 7 TDs as a rookie, which was phenomenal for a rookie. Rookies are just different now, and the game has changed. They come out of college more prepared. The NFL rules are different. Like, everything's lined up. There's no more, rookies don't do anything until year 3 as a wide receiver. But I don't think he'll have 1,400 yards. I think he'll have similar impact but balanced differently. So instead of 7 TDs and 1,400 yards, I think Chase could have 1,100 yards and 11 TDs. I think Devontae Smith could be more up and down, but I think by the end of the year, we'll be looking at a guy that feels top 6, top 7 overall for wide receivers walking into 2022 and beyond. What's your take on both guys? Who do you like better for the long term? Break it down.
I think just from a fantasy standpoint or just number standpoint in general, there's obviously, I don't want to say obviously, but I'd say, yeah, I can see Chase having better numbers, but I think it'd be more so because of their quarterback situation, not necessarily what this guy is good at or that guy, if that makes sense, right? So just looking at those guys, and a lot of people, I mean, the biggest issue that people have with Devontae Smith is that, well, he's not big, right? He's 170 pounds, soaking wet, maybe. And people had a big issue with that. My thing is, I go off of film, and maybe that's what messes me up because I know a lot of analytical guys be like, well, only this many people have been successful that are this height and then weigh this much and all that stuff. But my thing is, how many people have been that successful being the size that he is? I mean, he completely dominated. And when you watch the film, if you take away his height and weight, right, which he's not short, but he's just hella skinny. But if you take away his height and weight and you just go off of the purest film, he was hands down easily the best receiver in this class. And when I say easily, because when I watch him and I watch Jamar Chase, I like Chase. But I don't think Chase is exactly what people think from a prospect standpoint, like calling him like generational and all that. Like, I don't see that. I see a really good receiver. Obviously, he dominated SEC ball, put up great numbers. But if you're going off of like checking the boxes on what they do well, I think that Smitty does more things well than Jamar Chase. The biggest issue, again, is his lack of weight. But like you said, releases, and this is one thing too, smaller receivers are harder to guard. They're harder to get hands on. They're harder to press. So seeing him defeat press at the rate that he did, which was the best in the country, I'm not surprised because those are the hardest guys to press. Now, who are the easier guys to press? Guys that aren't as sudden, that aren't as quick at the line of scrimmage. So who was better at defeating press in college? Well, it was Smitty, no doubt, no doubt about it, right? Jamar Chase, now this is the thing, Jamar Chase, people consistently get hands on him, consistently, right? And if people got hands on Devontae Smith like they did Jamar Chase, then people would equate it to Smith's lack of weight, right? Oh, he's not, heavy enough, whatever. They don't say that about Jamar Chase. Now you look at the numbers, and maybe a lot of times it didn't happen, but a lot of times with prospects, people watch the highlights and they see the splash plays and all the great plays. And obviously he had a lot of them if you look at his numbers. But when you watch the games and you watch all 22 and you look when he's not targeted, there's zero separation. There's consistent hands on him at the line of scrimmage. He always has to fight through contact. There are a lot of times when people, there's the contact and then they throw it and it's broken up, but nobody talks about that. But then you have the times where they threw it and he catches it. So you've seen him win, and he's one of the rare guys that I've seen lose the same way he wins. You don't see that a whole lot. But from an overall standpoint, I like Smitty, but I don't like his quarterback situation as much as I like Jamar Chase. So I think numbers-wise, Chase will do better. I think Smitty will still be solid, and I think he'll get a high number of targets because who is he playing with there? But, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about those two guys.
I actually love Jalen Hurts, but there does feel like a lot of risk that's a lot of it's attached to the situation, the coaching staff, the Eagles in general. So I do share concern and caution with Jalen Hurts. I do feel like he could be really good, but Burrow's definitely a more pure passer. Hurts will be more of a hybrid runner and passer. I think Hurts is a better passer than like Cam Newton could have ever been, but he'll have Cam Newton potential running. But it does feel like Chase is in a better situation fit-wise for him to get.
I also got one more thing too. Sorry to cut you off. I got one more thing. Go ahead.
And I will say that I agree 100% with everything you said on Smith. When I evaluated these two coming into the draft, now granted, landing in since he's putting Chase ahead of Devontae Smith for me for redraft and for dynasty right now, but it's uncomfortable for me to not say Devontae Smith I like more. Like my heart and my gut tells me that Devontae Smith is going to translate differently. Just like you said, I feel like DK Metcalf and Jamar Chase feel very similar to me. Even if they play a little different, even if they're a little bit different in how they roll, it's still very similar in that DK isn't going to do a lot of the things that anybody like Tyreek Hill does, or these speedier, quicker wide receivers that have an all-around game. He's going to dominate what he does so well, though, that DK is going to be a staple in the top 4, 5, 6 wide receivers for, 6, 7 years. Smith has the ability to do everything like as good as anybody in the entire league. And he can even rival Chase in what Chase does well, which is go up and get, jump balls. I feel like both of them are going to have that top 6 wide receiver eventual appeal in fantasy football. And Devontae Smith, is only going to get better. And I love that people doubt him. I love that he's got a lot of hate because it makes him cheaper. And honestly, I want to own both of them, Croc. I want to own both of them in a dynasty league, and I plan to. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, someone in the chat, it said Ja, and I just saw it. It was Ja Webb,
Yeah.
and he said Chase said he lets people hit him first. And my thing is that's never an ideal way to win, right? Because again, like I said, when you watch the film, I know people can pull 10 clips of somebody hitting Chase first and him winning that rep vertically or on a slant or whatever. But there are also a ton of reps with him losing that same way where he gets erased. And he's going to have to be somebody where he goes to a great situation because he knows his quarterback and the quarterback knows him. So there's going to be that trust level there. But if you remember Dez Bryant, when he started kind of slowing down a little bit with Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott didn't have that same rapport with Dez as Tony Romo did. And he was a little bit more timid to kind of throw those jump balls because with Jamar Chase, there's going to be a lot of that, having to win those contested type catches. And I'm not saying he can't. He's still my wide receiver too. I think he's still going to have an amazing rookie year. But when you look at how he wins, that just kind of gives me a little pause just because it's like, man, like that's a tough way to have to consistently win. And do I like that way that he has to win over Devontae Smith, who can win with his quickness, his twitchiness in route, and also at the catch point, he was great. I take Devontae Smith's skill set overall over Jamar Chase, but that's not to say that Chase won't have a great year.
And that's why I think, comparing, I think DK to Chase is very arguable, because they're both going to be so dominant at dominating the space around them. Like when I watch, where's my football? When I watch Jamar Chase, I haven't seen a player literally take care of a lot of the jump ball challenges before he even actually jumps for the high point of the ball. It's like he's manhandling people. Webb said he gets hit first or whatever, but he's manhandling people. And a lot of times if you watch the film, he'll go catch a jump ball all by himself because he's already had the contact. So to your point, there is a lot of contact with him,
right?
But he's so intelligent. There's some people you just can't teach spatial intelligence on a field or on a court. And he knows how to manipulate with his body so well, like DK, to where it's like he's going to have a lot of what look like uncontested catches because of the early contact. I love Chase. I think he translates, but I'm with you on that long term. I'm really feeling like Devontae Smith is just going to do everything Chase does as well and have 10 other parts of his game that he does like no one else does in the NFL.
Right.
He's so good. He's so good. I love the doubt. He's only going to get a little bigger too. Maybe he's like Randy Moss was bigger, because he was taller, he weighed a lot more, but he was a lanky guy in the same way that for his build, Smith is very lanky. It's not like he's a tiny little dude. He's a tall, skinny guy. And I think it's not going to hurt him at all because of the things you said. He doesn't get hit. He is elusive, and so when he's slipping out of bounds, he's making smart decisions to go out of bounds. He's gonna save himself. Like I don't think he's gonna get hit so hard all the time that he's just this big walking injury risk. He's smart, and I have no
right.
doubts he's gonna translate. And I hope to God Sirianni knows what he's doing to some extent because I'm worried about him. I'm worried about that situation. The fact that they haven't fully committed to Hurts, they haven't backed him after the debacle last year where they actually benched Hurts, and just to not install confidence in Hurts is a mistake I think on Sirianni's part. So I worry about Philly. I really do. But I believe it hurts enough that if they do give him a fair shot, his talent will win out. And this will be a great connection for years and years to come. Any final thoughts? Everybody can find Eric Crocker on Twitter at Eric_Crocker. Any final thoughts on your way out the door? We're about to end the show here.
Yeah, last thing, I'll just answer the last question. It says, Crocker, who or what type of receiver is the hardest to guard? And I would say Julio Jones, somebody or DK Metcalf. Because DK Metcalf, one thing about him, he's extremely quick and powerful at the line of scrimmage, outruns guys. He runs a 4.3. That's one of the hardest kind of guys to consistently guard for an entire game. DK Metcalf, Julio Jones, big, but still really quick and explosive at the line of scrimmage. Can't get hands on those type of guys, man. It's tough.
Yes, sir. All right, go follow my boy Eric Crocker on Twitter. Eric, thank you. And let me know when you're ready to have me on your show to drop some fantasy stuff. I know you do all kinds of football. I'd like to bring a little, I know you already got some fantasy going on the channel, but let me know when you're ready. I'm ready to go.
All right, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Thanks, man. All right, everybody, that was Eric Crocker. Go give him a follow on Twitter. That's going to do it for us for today's show. I appreciate everybody here. Hit the thumbs up on your way out the door. Leave a comment when the video posts, because that live chat will be available to review, but the comment section of the video will start off with nothing in it. And so you can ask me a question and I'll get to you really quickly. So drop a comment once the video posts. I will see you every Tuesday and Thursday. I saw a question, Smitty, when you go live. Mike wants to know. I go live at night all the time. Sometimes I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays night, real late at night, like midnight. So I do a live show on Tuesday and Thursday, every Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern, every single Tuesday and Thursday. And a lot of times that same day, I do a real late night live, at least one of those days. I'm also live every Saturday night during football season and pretty much every year or every day. I'm live all the time. I'm live on Instagram constantly. Go follow me at The Fantasy Football Show. I go live on IG at least once a day. At least once a day, I'm live on IG. So if you're not following me on Instagram, you're missing out on those lives. And then I produce a video pretty much every single day on YouTube. So go watch the most recent one on second round running backs, the impact of Cam Akers on the second round in fantasy football. What did the Cam Akers injury do to second round running backs? Go watch it right now. Peace out. I'll see you guys all Tuesday. Later. See you, Terry Roberts. OU Kurt. Appreciate you. Smitty, want me to IG you. Yes, talk to me on IG about your shirt, Terry Roberts and OU Kurt.